are so many ways to explore Oregon's backroads and byways, but an increasingly popular way is to roll along on two wheels. Hi there, I'm Grant McComey, your host for Travel Oregon's Grant's Getaways, and this week we do just that out in Washington County, where you can combine outdoor adventure, an overnight campout, and an exploration of Oregon history. Winter's cold and wet rarely slows down Sally Miller or Hannah Vaandering from putting in their training miles on the Banks-Vernonia State Trail in Washington County.
It's pretty flat, so you don't have to worry about any hill work. It's a nice way to get people used to their bicycles and used to riding in a group and that type of thing.
The trail is made for cruising through a northwest Oregon forest. 13 trestles like this one at Buxton give you a feel for the line's history. A century ago, this railroad line moved big timber between nearby Vernonia and Portland.
We're about 85 feet up, and it's about 110 feet long. So,
quite a view.
Pretty big stretch.
Park Ranger Steve Kruger says it is Oregon State Park's first rails to trails conversion. 21 miles of paved pathway with a gentle 2 to 5% grade.
And Mendenhall Creek that runs below us. It's got a great curve, and we've put decking and handrails on it so that people can enjoy it as well.
Visitors can also enjoy Stubbs Stewart State Park. In fact, you can't miss it because the trail goes right through it. Rental cabins make a wintertime campout and trail riding a super weekend getaway.
Our visitorship is just increasing, and actually it's starting to spill off into our winter season to the point where, weekends are starting to be booked up entirely.
All the comforts of home inside each of 15 spacious, heated cabins that go for $43 a night.
Typically it sleeps about 5 adults, so it's 2 doubles and a single bunk. Nice kitchen table and toasty warm heaters.
You may also notice something new at Stubbs Stewart this winter. The views to the Coast Range are getting better thanks to a new forest restoration project. Crews are selectively thinning dense stands of 30-year-old Doug fir trees across 70 acres of the 1,800-acre park.
They looked at the health of the trees. They looked at the size of the tree, as many healthy trees as they could leave in that. They selected the best of the bunch, and also random because we didn't want it to be a cookie cutter type woods.
A couple of different things I want you to keep in mind. When you come to Stubbs Stewart, you'll see these red marked trees. These are left behind trees, 28,000 of them over the 70-acre project. But down here is the real story, where all the debris down to the smallest twigs have been cut, trimmed, and left on the ground, so the rotting process happens faster.
This is about conservation and preservation. It was logging country before we took over the property rights. And this stand of trees was in a fit of stress, planted very thick with the intention of being logged someday through their practices, but now we own it, and so we have a totally different idea of what the long term is.
The 13-man crew cuts, lops, and leaves up to 1,000 of the slender trees each hour. Kruger says the project will give remaining trees more room to grow. That will ensure the long-term health of the parkland's forests.
Our goal is to be able to have a forest that is self-sustaining, is taking care of itself. Look at it as healthy, long-lasting, sustainable woods.
When you reach end of the line in Vernonia, roll up to this remarkable museum and discover that a very different sort of logging runs deep in what was once a company town.
You don't come through Vernonia on your way to anywhere else. You either come here because you're heading to Vernonia or you lost your way, or you're one of those kind of people that likes to do a little bit of back road adventures.
Vernonia's lifeblood centered on the Oregon American Lumber Mill that ran around the clock and employed nearly 2,000 workers in the early 1920s. Back then, the trees were unlike anything you've ever seen.
It would take men in the days before chainsaws, a couple of days with a crosscut saw just to begin to get that ready to fell. And you can see in here there's 2 men lying across plus 2 men on either side with their big long axes.
More than 2 billion board feet of Doug fir lumber came out of the mill during a run that ended in 1958.
Beautiful timber, 200 to 300-year-old trees with straight grain. It went to build things all over the country. It went all over to build homes throughout the parts of the country that didn't have timber.
The museum is inside the only building from those days that's also on the National Historic Registry. It houses a remarkable photo collection from the heydays of old-growth logging.
The whole crew sitting on a log or watching a guy go up the spar tree, what it looked like when the mill was in operation, from static photos of the crews and the operations there. I think it was more to chronicle life in the woods, and then they could sell the photos to the guys because they'd be in the pictures, in the office.
Connecting the past.
We are.
A snapshot that connects with a unique Oregon story that's worth your time to visit. The Banks-Vernonia Linear State Trail is open anytime, and Stubbs Stewart State Park is the same, and those cabin rentals, they are available year-round, so be sure to check them out. We have all the details, directions, and the contact information so you can make your own Oregon outdoor adventure right here on the Travel Oregon website. So until next week, do get out here and explore the great Oregon outdoors, and let Travel Oregon be your guide. For Travel Oregon, I'm Grant McComb.